Hello fight fans, thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, UFC champion Jon Jones refutes reports that he has been arrested. Moving on, Jamahal Hill reveals Israel Adesanya advised him on how to deal with Alex Pereira ahead of UFC 300. Next, Gaethje rules out June turnaround for Makhachev if he beats Holloway. Lastly, Shan Strickland defends Chris Curtis following controversial decision loss to Brendan Allen at UFC Vegas 90. UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones has taken to social media to refute reports that he has been arrested. It was early Saturday morning when Albuquerque-based publication ABQ Raw reported that Jones had been accused of threatening the life of a drug tester at his home in Albuquerque. The publication stated that Jones was extremely intoxicated and threatened to kill the tester, even stealing the tester's cell phone. According to the report, after leaving the residence, the tester met with local police in Northeast Albuquerque to report Jones. Shortly after the accusations went viral on social media, Jon Jones took to his personal Instagram page where he issued the following statement. "I want to address reports about me allegedly threatening a drug tester's life and taking a phone. I want to clarify that there is a video showing both drug testers leaving my home after the testing session where we exchanged a high five and a hug. Although I was frustrated with the unprofessionalism and used profanity out of frustration, it ended friendly and amicably, nothing threatening at all. I was actually celebrating a friend's birthday party at my home, and I believe it's perfectly normal to celebrate in the comfort of my own home. I must say this particular tester behaved quite unprofessionally and even breached standard protocol along with HIPAA laws. Throughout my 20 years of being subjected to drug tests, I have never encountered such an incident with a DCO officer before." Most recently, reports surfaced online that Jones had been placed under arrest for his alleged actions toward the drug tester. The reigning UFC heavyweight champion quickly took to social media to shoot down those reports and slam the outlets putting out false information. "I wanted to address some misinformation that has been circulating this morning. I woke up to false reports that I had been arrested. I have not been arrested. In fact, I am currently in Texas with my daughters at a volleyball tournament. I must admit it's disappointing to have to clarify these things again, but I understand that I may be an easy target given some of my past issues. It's important to set the record straight and make sure the truth is told. I was recently visited by testers while I was celebrating a birthday and taking a nap. Upon waking up, I was caught off guard by the unprofessionalism and protocol by one of the testers, which caused frustration, leading me to use some profanity I regret. However, I want to emphasize that at no point did I threaten, get in anyone's face, raise my voice to anyone, or engage in any form of assault. It's unfortunate that false news has been spread without proper fact-checking. I want to assure you that I will vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations. The truth is, the incident simply did not occur." What do you make of the latest drama surrounding MMA legend Jon Jones? Share your opinion in the comments below. Former UFC light heavyweight title holder Jamahal Hill sought advice from one of Alex Pereira's foes, Israel Adesanya, ahead of UFC 300. Hill will face Pereira in his long-awaited return to the octagon in the UFC 300 main event. Israel Adesanya and Pereira have spent many minutes in combat sports against one another in their careers. After fighting twice in kickboxing, they've squared off another 2 times in the UFC. Adesanya has a lot of experience with dealing with Pereira's skill set, and Hill sought his counsel ahead of UFC 300. During a recent interview, Hill revealed that he and Adesanya met in the middle of his UFC 300 camp. Here is what he said. 100%, he provided some great insight. We had a great conversation, he answered all my questions, and he was just an open book with anything I wanted to know about his experience. Being in there with Alex, he opened up and he shared his experience with me. After Pereira called out Adesanya following UFC 295, Adesanya reached out to Hill to assure him of his desired title shot. Before suffering the injury, Hill won 4 consecutive fights, including knockouts of Johnny Walker and Thiago Santos. Pereira lost the UFC middleweight title to Adesanya at UFC 287 after rallying to finish him at UFC 281. The loss to Adesanya was his last middleweight fight before moving up to light heavyweight. Hill is doing everything he can to prepare for the biggest fight of his career, including his work with Adesanya. We're days away from finding out if Adesanya's advice helps earn Hill a victory at UFC 300. Justin Gaethje struggles to see a scenario where he defeats Max Holloway at UFC 300, then challenges Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title 7 weeks later. The BMF title matchup between reigning champ Gaethje and Holloway on Saturday's card at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas has been met with some resistance within the MMA community, especially from those who think it's derailed the natural order of the lightweight title picture. Both current 155-pound champion Islam and former title holder Khabib have been critical of UFC's matchmaking because they thought Gaethje should have been the next challenger. With Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan also set to fight at UFC 300, Makhachev doesn't think anyone is going to meet his desired timeline of competing at UFC 302, which is why he called out Dustin for the date. Justin admits he would be annoyed if Dustin, whom he knocked out at UFC 291 in July to claim the BMF title, got the fight against Makhachev. He can't see himself fighting in June though, and said his preferred timeline for his title shot would be toward the tail end of the year. Here is what he said. Ideally, they're calling this Oliveira-Tsarukyan fight a title eliminator. So the winner of that fight fights Makhachev in June, then I fight the winner of that in preferably Madison Square Garden in November. That sounds like a perfect timeline for me. I'll definitely have my time to rest, recovery, and retrain myself to get ready for that fight. Former UFC middleweight champion Shan Strickland came to the defense of his teammate Chris Curtis after UFC Vegas 90. Curtis's short-notice gamble against Brendan Allen fell short of victory at UFC Vegas 90 on Saturday. In a fight-of-the-year contender, Curtis and Allen traded blows throughout 5 rounds, leading to razor-thin margins on the judges' scorecards. Allen ended up walking away with the split-decision victory over Curtis. The fight was a rematch of their 2021 matchup that Curtis won by second-round TKO. Strickland, a top teammate of Curtis, revealed that his UFC Vegas 90 showing came despite an awful preparation. In a pairs of tweets, Strickland weighed in on the UFC Vegas 90 main event. He was so out of shape and underprepared for this fight and still won. You don't say no to the UFC, lol. Every UFC fighter knows that. They say jump, you say how high. Should have finished high school. All right, I'm done. We're all grown-ass men and we all make our own decisions. Just run it back on a full camp. Kurt deserves that. Good night, y'all. Strickland and Curtis will look to get back on track in their octagon returns later this year. After falling to Du Plessis in January, Strickland is vying for another title shot in the crowded middleweight title picture. Curtis isn't far behind in the middleweight ladder and remains a dangerous out for most top contenders. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.